Hello, everyone. Welcome back to The Toss-Up. I'm Luke Brenneman. Last week, we tipped things off with college basketball, but now it's time to shift to the big leagues. The NBA season is here, and it's already delivering. We have plenty of big names, rookies making noise, stars on new teams, and a whole lot of questions that still need answers. The Thunder are trying to defend their title. LeBron's still sidelined to start the year, and right here in Indiana, the Pacers are figuring out how to move forward without Tyrese Halliburton. Plenty to get into, so let's get started. This is The Toss-Up. Studio, and now it's time to meet our NBA Toss-Up panel. Joining me tonight are representatives of every class here in sports media at Indiana University. Let's start with the freshman Zach Cohn making his Toss-Up debut, bump it up a year to the sophomore and already a household name in IUSTV, Noah Gerke, and the senior, you could say my left-hand man, Chase Sotsky. Guys, we're thrilled to have you, and there's plenty to talk about. So we're going to put the freshman on the hot seat. You're kicking things off, Zach. I want to talk about just the NBA as a whole, and one thing, unlike other, I'd say, supreme sports leagues, there's so much turnover. Stars don't really stay loyal to one team. There's no true dynasties because of that. And with these offseason trades, acquisitions, free agency, and you'll all answer this question, which one sticks out to you most?
Yeah, I love the pressure. Let me go ahead and say Desmond Bane to the Orlando Magic. And, right, they gave up 5 first-round picks and 2 players that were starters last year for them. I felt like it was a bit of an overpay. But at the end of the day, I feel like they're overpaying for the fit that it brings to the team rather than the talent. This is a guy who shot 39% last year on over 400 three-point attempts last season. He is the perfect fit to space out this team. I think he fits in really nicely with Paulo, with Franz, with the rest of that team. I'm really excited for what this young Magic team can do.
I agree. I like that move a lot. A true scorer, and he plays defense as well. Noah, who's your, I'd say, most important offseason acquisition?
Well, there's no bigger name that moved than Kevin Durant, and he was a part of a 7-team deal to kind of make all the money match. Ends up in Houston, a team that was a number 2 seed last year without Kevin Durant. Now you add a 26.5 point per game scorer on 50, 40, 90 shooting. He's one of, if not the best scorer we've ever seen in the NBA, arguably. And he adds experience to a very young team that's kind of needing an identity. But the most important thing that stands out to me about Kevin Durant is his clutch time ability. He shot 67% in the clutch last year. The Rockets as a team shot 40%, good for 4th worst in the league. They've got their go-to guy down the stretch. I think that's the biggest move in the name of Kevin Durant.
Didn't really work in Phoenix. We'll see if Houston is the fit for KD. Chase.
Yeah, so you guys took 2 of the biggest trades of the entire offseason, 2 of the biggest trades we've seen in recent memory. I want to go with a team that made some pretty big acquisitions, Luke. I'm going to go with the Atlanta Hawks and their acquisitions that they've made this offseason. It starts out with Kristaps Porzingis. In the offseason, in the postseason last year, he was dealing with an illness. The illness was POTS, which is a syndrome that makes running and activity difficult. It dramatically increases a patient's heart rate when they're standing up as opposed to laying down. So KP was pretty much unable to do anything. He literally was unable to stand without being fatigued. And now he's healthy, hopefully. He's a perfect fit in Atlanta, I feel. But they also picked up Nickeil Alexander-Walker. He is one of the best role players in the entire sport. I've always been a big fan of him. And so far this year, I know we're only a week in, but he's putting up career numbers in points, assists, and steals. I think the 2 of these guys make a great fit. I feel like they complete this Hawks team, and I'm going with the Atlanta Hawks.
You learn something new every day. We're getting scientific on the toss-up. Shout out to Chase. We'll go right back to the rookie on the toss-up, and let's talk about rookies in the NBA. Guys coming out of college, I feel like they're instant impact or a complete miss, not really involved. We'll go back to everyone with the round table on this one. Zach, you kick us off. What rookie do you think is going to break out in 2025-26?
Yeah, I feel like the big 3 of rookies was the top 3 picks, and that's Coop, that's Dylan Harper, and that's VJ Edgecombe, and I love all 3 of them. I want to pivot to a different direction. I want to mention Trey Johnson on the Washington Wizards. Played at Texas last year. He's a really good shooter, and I just think he fits in Washington so well. He's coming off the bench right now. I would not expect that to be the case in the back half of the year. Honestly, I don't want to get Washington fans too excited, but Bub Carrington and Trey Johnson look a lot like John Wall and Bradley Beal did way back a long time ago.
Well, at least Washington fans now have something to at least
Right,
be
yeah.
semi-excited about. Hopefully they're tuned into the toss-up. Noah?
You mentioned his name in the middle of the big three, and that's Dylan Harper. I think he's one of those guys that you didn't know how much he was going to necessarily play or be an impact for the San Antonio Spurs because he's riding right next to Stephon Castle and Devin Vassell, who are starting to become household names, really good players in the NBA. He's struggled with the three-point shot, but he's a guard that can really get to the rim on a team that spaces the floor extremely well with Harrison Barnes. You're bringing a good three-point shooting big man in Luke Cornett. You've got Victor Wembanyama, who we'll get to later, and he's something else. Dylan Harper's in a perfect situation to succeed in his rookie year because of the talent that surrounds him, and the expectations of him being a number one guy aren't necessarily there. He's got a lot of room to be the type of player he needs to be an impact for the San Antonio Spurs.
Well, he gave it to our Indiana Hoosiers all the time in his days at Rutgers in the Big Ten. Chase, what rookie are you looking out for?
First off, I want to start Trey Johnson. Phenomenal pick. As a Wizards fan, I'm so excited that we were able to draft him. But my pick, I was going to come in here talk about the number one pick, Cooper Flagg. Flagg was phenomenal in college, but after a slightly slow start and someone else who was just way too hot, VJ Edgecombe, what he's been able to do this year is unheard of from a rookie. He's put up, in his first game, in his debut, he scored the most points in a debut game since Wilt Chamberlain back in 1959. That is unbelievable. What he's been able to do in Philadelphia, he has all the minutes. He's been averaging over 40 minutes a game so far this season, and he's not looking to slow down anytime soon. It's not like their team is injured. Tyrese Maxey's still there. He's arguably rising up the MVP conversation so far in the first week. But VJ Edgecombe, what he's been able to do, he put up 34 points, and 7 rebounds, knocking down 5 threes in that game. He's averaging over 24 points a game. He's been phenomenal so far this year.
That backcourt is deadly. Maxey and Edgecombe. They're also undefeated, the Sixers, through 4 games. So kind of a team people saw around the middle of the pack. Still plenty of basketball to play, but a really good start for the fans in Philadelphia. Chase, we'll go right back to you. We'll work your way back to Zach. Our final round table topic. We talked about rookies. We talked about trades, superstars moving around. Let's talk cream of the crop. Most valuable player. Give me your early season MVP.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be Nikola Jokic for me. The Denver Nuggets, what they did this offseason, I think they set Nikola Jokic up for the most success that he could potentially have in his entire career. What they've done, this team could win more than 60 games. They could be a 65-plus win team, and that wouldn't even surprise me. The additions of Cam Johnson, hopefully the health of Aaron Gordon and Jamal Murray, and what we saw last year from Jokic, he put up his best statistical season of his entire career, and he's already a 3-time MVP. In my mind, I think Nikola Jokic is going for 4.
No voter fatigue there?
I mean, that's definitely a concern. It's always concerning when someone has 1, let alone 2, let alone 3. But what Jokic is able to do as a playmaker, as a shooter, and just as a threat any given time, you never know. And I mean, voter fatigue is absolutely the biggest concern when it comes to this. But I just think that Jokic is too good.
He does it all. He shows up every night. Noah, take it away.
Talk about somebody who does it all. There's no player that's more dynamic in the NBA right now than Victor Wembanyama, and he's going to be my pick for early season MVP. The health concerns are there. He's 7'4" and probably weighs about 200 pounds. He's very slim, very slender, but he does everything on the court. He runs like a small forward, dribbles like a point guard, and shoots threes from 35 feet away. He's dynamic. He's averaging 31 points and 13 boards. He's shooting 90% inside of 5 feet this year. He doesn't miss when he's close to the rim. He's an elite shot blocker, around 5 shots per game. The health concerns are there, but if he can stay healthy, there's probably not a more dynamic player, and there's no one on the planet that can guard Victor Wembanyama when he's fully healthy.
So let me ask you, do you personally think that Wemby can stay healthy for a full NBA season?
That's always the question. I would love to see it because it's good for the sport. It's good for the San Antonio Spurs. It's more importantly good for him, for your mental side of things, to be able to stay on the floor. I think he can stay healthy. He may not play all 82 games. He may play 65 games, but that's a successful season for him if he can stay on the court for an extended period of time for the Spurs.
Absolutely. Zach, your MVP.
Yeah, I love both those answers. I'm going to stick to my theme, I feel like, and that's been the underrated answers. I want to give a guy some love. Cade Cunningham, guard on the Detroit Pistons. He averaged 26, 6, and 9 last year. Pistons took a huge jump from the worst team in the NBA, 4 years in a row, to the sixth best team in the East, right? They lose to the Knicks. They put up a good fight. It was a great showing for their young guys, and Cade Cunningham was at the front of it all. He turns the ball over more than you would like, but if he can clean that up and lead this young, upstart Detroit Pistons team to probably an even higher seed this year with this weak Eastern Conference, I really feel like there's a path to an MVP for him.
That's a dark horse right there, 150-1 via the odds to win the MVP in Cade Cunningham. But if you can score, you're in it every night. Let's get specific. So now this is kind of the part of the show where we'll ask each guy a question on a hot topic in the NBA. It's just the first week. We'll start with you, Chase. And I hate to do it. You know, I'm a Midwest guy. We all go to Indiana. But let's go out to L.A. Everybody cares what's going on with LeBron, Luka Doncic. He's now 40 years old. He's hurt to start the season. What are your thoughts on the Lakers this year?
Yeah, you said it. LeBron's out till what we expect to be the end of November at the earliest from what it's looking like. But when you have Luka Doncic on your team, you already know that that's going to be a high-scoring, high-powered offense that's going to establish, great playmaking, great shooting, and they have all the tools for that. They're one of the teams that's probably set up the best to support Luka Doncic. And I want to talk about Austin Reeves, though. You don't need me to read you the numbers on Luka Doncic, but he's injured right now. He'll probably be out for about a week or so. But there are some guys in the NBA who you see when they finally get their moment to become a number one, they struggle. They can't handle the pressure. The number one option, defenses play them with all their might. Austin Reeves is one of those players who doesn't shy away from that. He only gets better as his opportunity increases. This season, he started out the year putting up 25 and 26 points, I believe. In his next game, he nearly put up a 50-point triple-double. He was just a single assist away from putting up a triple-double in his first game as the number one option for the Lakers. And his next game, he put up over 40 points. These two guys all year long will be elite playmakers, elite scorers, and I definitely see the Lakers going to the playoffs. They have a chance to go far. Depends on their matchup, though. I don't know if I trust Ayton down low. That's definitely something that scares me a little bit. We saw it in Phoenix that it didn't really work out with him at times. It scares me. They're definitely going to make the playoffs. I have them as my 8 seed in my long season predictions, so there's that. But Luka Doncic, he'll assert himself in the MVP conversation. Last year was an emotional roller coaster, getting traded from Dallas, and now he's here in LA. He's looking slimmer than ever. He said it himself. He wants to move on and move past all of the distractions from last year, and I think he's going to do just that.
I like it. Sneak their way in and try and make some noise in the postseason. The statistician of the toss-up, Chase Sotsky. Now let's get local. The Indiana Pacers. Noah, walk us through kind of what's going on. This is your home state. We know you're a Celtics fan, and we would never show those green Celtics socks that you have on right now. Hopefully the cameras aren't picking those up. I think I see a speck right now. But nonetheless, no Tyrese Halliburton. You make the NBA Finals last year. What does 2025-26 look like for the Pacers?
I don't know. And I don't think anybody knows. And if you act like you know what's going on with the Pacers, you probably don't know because there's so many unknown questions about this team this year, especially missing Tyrese Halliburton. People are going to understand how important he is to this offense, not only his passing, his scoring, the IQ he plays with on the defensive end and out in transition. This is a team that likes to go run up and down the floor. They're missing him. They're dealing with injuries almost immediately. Benedict Matherin's out week to week. Nembhard is dealing with injuries. They've got an injury at every single position this year. It's a lot different, and it's a lot harder than Pacers fans are going to realize going away from a superstar like Tyrese Halliburton. He's not the only team who's having to deal with somebody out due to an Achilles injury, Boston Celtics. But it looks a lot different, and nobody really knows how the team is going to mesh and play without a guy who's such a great facilitator and all-around offensive weapon in Tyrese Halliburton. So I don't know what the expectations are, and we're not going to know until about halfway by the trade deadline-ish.
Indiana still without a win in their first week of the season, favored to miss the postseason as of right now. Rick Carlisle, he's a good coach. I'm sure a lot of the hometown fans have some faith in him making some magic and sneaking in. Zach, we'll move to you and a team that, for some odd reason, we haven't really talked about at all so far tonight. The reigning champs, the Oklahoma City Thunder. And I'm not going to ask you to hype them up because they deserve all the flowers that they've gotten after the NBA Finals, just a history one against the Pacers last year. But who out of all teams do you see giving OKC a run for their money?
Yeah. Let me just say, the Thunder do deserve their flowers, and they've gotten them. It is such a well-constructed team, but I'm not even going to get into all of that. There's a couple teams that stand out to me. In the East, I like Cleveland and I like the Knicks. They're both very good. They're set up. They both made moves to help themselves. I think they both kind of have weaknesses. I look at Cleveland and their bench. I don't love that core unit of the team. And then with the Knicks, it's a brand new coach. I'm not saying that it won't work. I actually love Mike Brown, but I just don't know how that'll look. In the West, I love Houston, but I don't know who their point guard is. I like Amen Thompson a lot. I think he's super talented, and he should be on an NBA court. I don't know if starting point guard of that team is where he fits, but we'll see. My pick, though, is going to be the Denver Nuggets. They have Jokic. He has won 3 MVPs. He looks like he could be on his way to another this year. He is fantastic. And the rest of the team just upgraded so much this year. And they essentially swap out Michael Porter Jr. for Cam Johnson, which is a massive upgrade. Better defensively, better shooter. I love it. I think it's perfect. I think he fits that team so well. They signed a couple of bench pieces back. Christian Brown is just going to keep getting better. I think that this is the perfect team to take down OKC. And people forget, this is a Denver team that took down, or didn't take down, took OKC to 7 games in the second round last year. That was not an easy task. That is not an easy task. I don't think it matters what seed they get. I think that they're going to be a threat no matter where they are in the playoffs against OKC.
They look good early on in the top 5 favorites to win the NBA championship. We're going to quickly step aside for a break, but don't go anywhere. When we come back, it's time for Rapid Fire. That's quick questions, hot takes, and no time to hesitate. You're watching The Toss Up. Let's go. Rapid fire. No need to talk about it anymore. Chase Sotsky, all of you will answer these questions. 2 sentences max. You know the drill. Give me a sleeper team in the NBA this year that maybe we haven't talked about or is not hyped up, but you think is going to be right there come the playoffs.
Yeah, the Western Conference is loaded, but I'm going with the Portland Trailblazers. They have a ton of great guys. Denny Avdija, former Wizard. Shaedon Sharpe has the opportunity to break out. Klingon has a chance to be in the Defensive Player of the Year conversation. Portland's my take.
That might be a good take if their coach was not in jail right now. Noah.
You said 2 sentences. I need 2 words. Victor Wembanyama. I'm taking the Spurs.
Okay. Zach.
Wow. I'm going to go with the Philadelphia 76ers. They're a great team. They should have been great last year. The injuries just can't be that bad again. I've got the Sixers.
Sixers look good early on. You mentioned them earlier. Let's completely flip the script now with this next rapid-fire question. A playoff team from last year that you guys feel may miss the playoffs in 2026. Zach, take it away.
Yeah, I'm going to go with the Milwaukee Bucks. It's pretty simple. It's Giannis, and then what else is going on? Miles Turner, the signing there just confused me. The rest of the starting lineup, the rest of the team is just, it's bad. And there's so many pieces that are missing. Milwaukee Bucks seem like the obvious choice.
Noah?
Sorry, Indiana fans, it's the Pacers. Tyrese Halliburton now is going to be a bigger deal than people realize. And I just think they're too injured and don't have enough time to mesh without a guy like Tyrese Halliburton. I think the Pacers probably missed the playoffs.
I don't hate the take, but a guy who's been on the show back-to-back weeks, you may be kicked to the curb in this city. Chase.
Yeah, I mean, if the Blazers are making it, someone in the West has to drop out. I have the Grizzlies. I just don't trust them at the end of the day. That's all.
They play defense, but no Bane. They might struggle scoring. Face of the NBA. I love this topic because with so many sports, I feel like LeBron had a great run. Steph Curry still arguably the face of the league. But now you have guys like SGA winning the title last year and so many of these superstars at such a young age just influxing their presence and scoring every night. Noah, let's start with you on this one. Who is your face of the NBA?
We talked about how LeBron had a great run as the face of the NBA. I think he's still there. I think it's him and Steph Curry. And it's just because they've been around for so long. And until LeBron leaves the league, he's going to be the face of the league. He's been the face of the league since he's 19 years old, seemingly. Him and Steph Curry are still who you think of when you think of the NBA.
Zach, do you agree?
I don't. I love Steph. I love LeBron. They absolutely had a great run. But there is one guy, one name that always gets mentioned when he's playing his best basketball, and that's Anthony Edwards. He's also an American-born player, which is something that we talked about before the show. Something that, for an American sport, we tend to love and idolize. I think Anthony Edwards is the guy right now.
That's a whole other debate right now, especially with just these superstars coming in from everywhere in the NBA. You talked about Wembanyama. He could very well be the face of the league. Chase, who do you think it is?
You just said it. Wembanyama, he's a freak of nature. What he is able to do offensively, defensively, nobody can stop him, and he can stop everybody. I don't know how somebody's going to be able to guard a guy who's 7'4" with a wingspan that I don't even know how big it is. Wembanyama is the face of the league.
I swear we didn't plan that. I promise. All right, last question for rapid fire. You can maybe take a little bit of time on this one. I need an East versus West NBA Finals early prediction, and give me your winner as well. Zach, you go first.
Yeah. It's pretty obvious in the West. I'm going to take the Oklahoma City Thunder. They're the best team. I'm not going to overthink it. I know it's hard to go back-to-back. This would be the team to do it. In the East, I got the New York Knicks. I love Mike Brown. He might be an upgrade over Tibbs. It's kind of a similar team. It's a similar core. But Mike Brown's a great coach. I have the Knicks versus the Thunder, and I ultimately have the Thunder going back-to-back and winning the championship.
That's a tough thing to do, but it looks like they may be building a dynasty in OKC. Noah, what do you think?
As a Celtics fan, I understand how hard it is to go back-to-back, and that's why I'm not picking Oklahoma City. I think the Denver Nuggets are going to win the West. We talked about how they've built their roster, set up Jokic for success, then you add big-time shooting and Cam Johnson. Christian Brown's taken a step up. I like the Nuggets out of the West. I like Cleveland out of the East, too. I think their playoff woes eventually have to be tossed to the side, and they're a good enough team to win when it comes down the stretch. And I think the Nuggets win it. And if the Nuggets win the finals, then Jokic is probably winning his 4th MVP as well. I think the Nuggets beat the Cavaliers in the NBA Finals.
Kind of a common theme for the first two of you guys talking about teams who have really stuck together, not lost any of their big pieces. Chase, close us out.
Yeah, so out of the West, I also have us with the Nuggets. But in the East, get this. I'm going with the Atlanta Hawks. This Eastern Conference is wide open. They beat the Knicks 2 times out of their 5 matchups, and one of which they lost by 1 point in overtime. They beat the Cavs 2-1 in their 3-game series last year, and the Hawks just got a lot better. I mentioned it earlier. Jalen Johnson's a conversation for the most improved player. Trae Young, we've seen him get their team into the Eastern Conference Finals before. I think they're able to get over the hump, but I don't think they're going to beat Denver. Jokic is too good, and the Denver Nuggets, they're the best Nuggets team that we've seen, and they've already won a chip.
We talked about it with rapid fire hot takes. Chase Sotsky, Atlanta, stand up. That's going to do it for us tonight on the Toss Up. Thank you to our fantastic panel for bringing the heat and for you tuning in. Don't forget to follow us on Instagram, X, and TikTok at IUSTV Sports. We'll see you next week. A feature on Indiana volleyball, who, get this, they're off to their best conference start in program history. Until then, this has been the Toss Up.